Hey, it's Lemon. Welcome to the Backlogs. Hope you're doing well. It's a brand new year, which means it's not only time for me to accidentally write 2025 on every important document that crosses my desk for the next 2 months, but it's also time to try brand new things, which is why I'm playing Dark Souls 1 again. But I'm playing Dark Souls 1 again with a weapon type I've never used before, the curved greatswords. And if I'm being honest, I can't seem to recall anyone playing with this weapon type. At least, not really. There's one particular curved greatsword that has a reputation for being good, but the rest seem to go under the radar. So, in the interest of getting them back on the board, let's start the new year with a gentle walkthrough on how to beat Dark Souls 1 with only curved greatswords. But before we get into the thick of it, I want to show you a neat trick I learned. We all know there's no starting character class that starts with a curved greatsword, which the naysayers in the audience will tell you means the run has already failed. But here's a fun glitch that literally anyone can do. First try, no hours upon hours of frame-perfect button pressing needed. If you take the black firebombs as your starting gift, and kill the asylum demon when it first appears, you can then quickly quit out of the fight, load your save, and find yourself back outside the door that leads to its arena. And upon entering the arena, a quick checkup on the roof will confirm that the asylum demon is, in fact, still alive. From here, we simply proceed as normal. Run to the side door to get away from the demon, ignore single-shot Freddy, as we always do, then skip through Oscar's dialogue. And, if we've done this right, we not only get our Estus Flask, but also the Undead Asylum Key and the Big Pilgrim Key. Because despite the Asylum Demon still being very much alive, Oscar is under the impression that it isn't, and therefore gives us its key drop. Which means we can escape the Undead Asylum and begin our journey proper without technically killing anything at all. Take that, random internet comments that keep me up at night! But now that we're actually in the game proper, we need to get ourselves some curved greatswords. And there just so happens to be one in the catacombs. Normally, this would be a complete pain in the ass. But if you just jump off of this ledge, you can immediately get ego checked by Tony. A strong start. It's gonna be a good year. I can just feel it. Back again, this time letting Tony show off his cannonball before we take the plunge. Then it's just a simple hop down into the darkness below, and we've skipped the entire catacombs. Or at least the part that we needed to worry about anyway. From here, there's only one thing left in our way, the Titanite demon at the end of this hallway, which we can absolutely just roll past, since he's a bit slow on the uptake, and collect our prize, 3 Eyes of Death. Then all we have to do is run past our boy here and... It's gonna be a good year, I can just feel it! Right, third time's the charm. With Eyes of Death in our inventory, there's actually a hidden interaction we can do with this coffin here. Simply stand in front of it, press A to nestle inside, and then... wait. After that, all you need to do is stay in the coffin long enough to start wondering if the game is glitching out, or about 20 seconds, whichever is longer, and you'll be given a fun little cutscene where Tony once again betrays us and seals us inside the coffin alive. Joke's on him though, because this coffin is brought to the feet of the one person we wanted to see, Nito, the Keeper of the Dead and Master of the Gravelords. And despite the fact that we have zero interest in being a Gravelord, times must be pretty hard for our PvPvE brothers, because they're more than happy to take us in on word alone. And once we give them our word, which is worth about as much as Gwyn's at this point, we get our first weapon of the run, the Gravelord's Sword. And after a quick dark sign back to Firelink, we can finally get this party started. Well, sort of. Turns out, the Gravelord's Sword has some relatively high requirements, 24 strength and 13 dexterity. We started as the warrior class, so we already have the dexterity we need, but in order to use this weapon, we'll need to beef up to 16 strength to even two-hand it. Nothing a little exploration can't fix. If you weren't concerned with looking smart in front of YouTube comments and took the Master Key in the beginning, you've got all of Blighttown and the Valley of Drakes at your disposal, and can easily grab enough poppable souls to possibly even one-hand the Gravelord's Sword. But I didn't take the Master Key, so I'll have to get a little bit more creative. If we head to New Londo, there's a Soul of a Nameless Soldier by the elevator. We can find 3 Souls of the Lost Undead hidden around Firelink Shrine, and a few more loose souls on the way to the Undead Burg as well. And once we've gone around and collected the meager offerings left by those that came before, we should have just enough strength to two-hand our sword. We'll hold off on talking about its numbers and moveset until we can use it properly, but this weapon was definitely not meant to be in our hands this early in the game. The damage it does even while completely unupgraded is ridiculous. I think I can see why so many people go out of their way to nab this weapon. I mean, look at this. Does this look like early game weapon damage to you? Because it shouldn't. It can even give us sweet revenge against the Titanite demons, something that shouldn't be possible without a +5 weapon, or at the very least, a weapon that does blunt damage. And yet, there it is. dancing on the graves of those around it. Wait, no, that's the miracle version of this thing. Oh, hey, would you look at that? 24 strength, which means we can finally look at this weapon properly. Right, let's talk one-handed moveset. It's surprisingly slow, though I'm sure it does pretty significant poise damage as a trade-off. The strong attack is much more effective, a poke that comes out relatively fast and with incredible reach. The two-hand moveset is exactly the same in every respect, including speed, but the rolling attack has us doing a horizontal slash. Interestingly, the backstep attack has us doing a jump attack, which is either horizontal if you're one-handing the weapon, or vertical if you're two-handing it. Neat that they filled in the gaps like that. Lastly, we have the actual jump attack. Nothing to write home about, just a horizontal jumping slash, both in its one-hand and two-hand setups. Much like we saw with the great axes, it's rather quick, and definitely much faster than the regular attacks, which will definitely come in handy when facing off against enemies with quick attacks. 3-hit gargoyle, by the way. Just thought you should know. And considering its stats, I can't say I'm that surprised. 265 base damage at +0. The stat scaling it gets from strength and dexterity is negligible at best, but its durability is fantastic. It is 10 pounds though, so the likelihood of you ever having anything faster than a medium roll is pretty low. Best get used to that idea now. Might as well head back to the Undead Asylum to see how it fares against a boss with high defense. What the? Have you just been sitting here the whole time? Alright, fine. You want to tussle? I'll tussle. Oh shit, okay, this is fine. Hello there, you must be the Asylum Demon's brother who lives in the basement. I've heard so much about you. Well, okay, I haven't heard about you, but I've heard you stopping around down here quite a bit. Fun fact, if you can get the Asylum Demon to stand on the breakable floor when it collapses, it'll fall down with you, where it will actually take damage from the Stray Demon's attacks. No such luck today though, I'm afraid, which means we'll just have to fight the Stray Demon like normal. But this does give me a chance to show off a secret of the Gravelord Sword. This is one of 2 weapons in the entire game that has the Toxic status. Awesome, right? Yeah, no, not really. Dark Souls 2 Toxic, this is not. Now, don't get me wrong, every little bit helps. But unless you're using this weapon for PvP, I wouldn't count on that unique feature being important anytime soon. And after escaping the basement and giving the Asylum Demon the one-shot treatment it deserves, we can return to Firelink Shrine, show Lautrec how much poise damage the two-handed strong attack does, and he'll be so impressed that he'll give us the Fat Bring for free. What a great guy. Considering this is a great weapon build, I did decide to get the Wolf Ring to fill out our remaining ring slot, and after visiting the Moonlight Butterfly for a very uninteresting 2-cycle, and a slightly more interesting visit to the Capra Demon, we've nearly made it to our second weapon of the run. Only a few more stumbling blocks to go. By the way, before I forget, is it just me, or does the Gravelord Sword look like the Rathalos Greatsword from Monster Hunter? Maybe it's the combination of the stretched skin and bone. Or maybe it's the fact that I'm fighting a beastie 45 times my size while using it. Whatever the similarity, it's definitely giving me that Monster Hunter itch. You know the one, right between the shoulder blades where you can't reach it? Yeah, that fucking thing. We better put this weapon away before I find myself starting a new character in Monster Hunter Freedom. And just in the nick of time, past an entire swamp's worth of leeches, we find our second weapon, the Server. As far as stats go, it's a mixed bag. The base damage is surprisingly low at 107, though it does have C scaling with dexterity, so that's something I guess. The durability is fine, and its stat requirements and weight are the same as the Gravelord Sword, so you won't have to adjust your build in any way to use it. But it does have a unique property. Every time your swings hit an enemy, you get 7 HP back. More on that in a minute. It's also worth noting that upgrading the Server to +10 will bring its base damage to just shy of the Gravelord Sword, a difference that is easily surpassed when you add in the fact that the Server has stat scaling. So, if damage is the only thing you're worried about, you have a new favorite weapon for the run. As far as moveset goes, its light attacks are the exact same as the Gravelord Swords, but its strong attack is a running horizontal slash, which chains into a diagonal slash in the opposite direction. Two-hand light attacks haven't changed at all, so no differences there, but the strong attack is a running downward strike, which once again chains into a spitting downward strike in the opposite direction. It's damn fast too. Strange how the curved greatswords all seem to have fast strong attacks and slow light attacks. As for the remaining moveset, it's the exact same as the Gravelord Sword, so just keep doing what you've been doing. Oh, and for that one weirdo in the audience who wants to know what happens when you put it in your offhand, it's strange. The light attack is a swipe, but the strong attack is also a swipe. The exact same one, actually. I say this is strange because most weapons differentiate between the two buttons, with the light attack button making the weapon block, while the strong attack button makes the weapon attack. Very weird that the Gravelord Sword doesn't do that. Anyway, let's talk about the Server's HP regen. As you can see, every hit against an enemy gives you 7 HP. I know, get pumped. But not too pumped, because just like all the other health regen items in this game, it doesn't work as well as you'd hope. Hit 2 enemies at the same time, and you'll still only get 7 HP. So, despite this weapon being able to hit multiple enemies with each attack, don't expect to ditch your Estus Flask anytime soon. Works great on bosses though. Between the heavy damage, the quick heavy attack combos, and the stagger potential, this thing is a boss melter. And with the 2 Bells of Awakening rung, we're just about done with the run. Yep, you heard me correctly, we're almost done. Because despite the fact that we're not quite at the halfway point in the game, there's really not much else for me to do in this run. Oh sure, we could abandon our duties as the Gravelord and join the Forest Covenant, then abandon them even faster and go on a murder spree, killing everyone in sight, but this is actually the last step in the entire run, because so long as we don't let Shiva of the East fall off a cliff, he'll drop the last curved greatsword we need to collect, the Murakumo. Now did we have to kill Shiva? No. You can actually grind the giant skeletons in Firelink, or the ones down in the catacombs or the Tomb of the Giants, and get a Murakumo that way. But as someone who had to actually do that for the region lock, let me tell you, this way was faster. Somehow. So, let's take a look at our newest and final weapon. It's just a better version of the server. It has higher base damage, better dexterity scaling, and better durability. And the only thing it costs us is the HP regen and 2 extra pounds. And when I say it's just a better version of the server, I mean exactly that. The moveset is the same, though I think the Murakumo has slightly longer reach? Maybe? It's a bit hard to tell, if I'm being honest. I do like the shape of the Murakumo more than the server though, if that counts for anything. Oh, who are we kidding? This is Dark Souls. Aesthetics are everything. But with the Murakumo collected, that's it. There's nothing else to talk about. I'm not sure why this weapon type only has 3 weapons, but that's all we got. And after doing a quick search, it looks like this will always be the case. Dark Souls 2, a game notorious for its build variety, only has 4 curved greatswords, while Dark Souls 3 only has 5. In fact, we won't see any amount of weapon variety until Elden Ring, where there's 11, which is actually less than most other weapon classes, if you can believe it. So yeah, not sure why, but the curved greatsword class will be undervalued and underloved for basically the entire series, at least on paper.
What a fool we have! What a wretched fool we have!
Maybe the weapons themselves are amazing, and having more than 5 of them would have created an entire meta. Can't say I believe that narrative, considering how these weapons are in Dark Souls 1, but I digress. So, a few final notes. First off, in case you ever find yourself attending a Dark Souls trivia night, here's some useless info for you. The server's item description changes depending on what kind of infusions you have on it. If it's normal, it reads imbued with a frightful occult energy. But if it's infused with fire or chaos, it reads imbued with a frightful heretical energy. Why? Because fuck you, that's why. Second useless tidbit of info, I don't like this weapon class very much. Don't get me wrong, the damage is amazing, and if you build around it, these 3 weapons can definitely carry you through the game. But for some reason, the timing of this weapon never fully clicked for me. It's the light attacks. They're too slow and unwieldy. They work fine for bosses that stand still, but enter a fight with something that's quick on its feet, and you're going to be using your strong attacks every single time. Which means you better pump up that endurance, because you're gonna need the stamina for those attacks. Oh, and in case you're trying to pump those numbers, it's worth noting that the server and the Murakumo can be buffed with resins and the weapon buff spells and miracles, but the Gravelord sword cannot. Which means the Gravelord sword falls even further behind. Even at maximum upgrade, which takes Demon Titanite by the way, it'll only ever do 485 damage at the strength and dexterity soft caps, while the Murakumo sits at a heavenly 564. So yeah, Murakumo all the way. And as we stated before, if you're not actually challenge running and just want to try out the curved greatswords, the Murakumo is actually the earliest weapon you can get if you're willing to farm the giant skeletons in the graveyard. I don't recommend it, but I'm not your dad. You do you. Anyway, there you have it. The curved greatswords. Not much to talk about, but who knows? Maybe someone out there will appreciate what they're offering. Give them a try. You might just like what you see. On a completely unrelated note, thanks for being here. Sorry for the shorter video, but I'm still shaking off the holidays and just wanted to start the year off right. Hopefully you learned something new today. I've got a few more weapons left to cover, so be sure to let me know which one you want to see next down in the comments, and consider subscribing if you haven't already, or joining the Discord in the description so that you'll actually get notified when a new video drops. Because while I can't tell you what I've got planned just yet, I promise that this year is going to be interesting for this channel. But in any case, that's all I've got. Take care of yourselves, be good to one another, and I'll see you all again soon.